Metal Up, this is CJ with cjortiz.com and metalmotivation.com. This is the first of a new 5-message series I'm doing on dealing with manipulators. This is being shown in my Life Domination online coaching program, which you can learn more about if you visit the link below. Dealing with manipulators. Well, you might be thinking, what does manipulation have to do with motivation? Well, if you've been following Metal Motivation, my personal page, for any length of time, you do know that I cover things beyond just the idea of mindset and motivation, inspirational type things. I think there's a whole multiplicity of issues that we contend with in life that we have got to be aware of, and we have got to get the upper hand on, because these things, negative forces in our life, have a detrimental effect on our personal progress. In other words, it's not enough to be motivated. It's not enough to be inspired. It's not enough to just be self-disciplined. You have enemies on every front. You have circumstances, situations, and people that are trying to destroy or hinder your progress. And sometimes these people are people who claim to love you, people who claim to be your friend, people who claim that they are your co-worker, people who are your boss. All of these people can set roadblocks or hindrances in your life. And here's another one. You may be one of those manipulators. You may be someone who uses moodiness, who uses anger, who uses guilt, who uses intimidation in order to control others. And that is what manipulation is. Manipulation is a skillful, masterful form of control. It's when you are manicuring or controlling a situation or people skillfully in order to create desired outcomes. That is the objective of anyone who engages in manipulation. They are operating skillfully in a form of control to create desired outcomes. Now, manipulation is not always negative, right? A sculptor can manipulate clay to create what they want. But the same process is engaged when it comes to a negative form of manipulation, which is the kind of manipulation that we encounter all the time at home, with our friends, in our dating life, in the workplace. We encounter manipulation everywhere, which is why, again, success in life, achieving things, making great life transformation is going to require more than just motivation, more than just self-discipline, more than just goal setting. You've got to be able to undo the works of enemies that are trying to hinder your progress, and manipulators are a huge part of our lives and a huge part of the things that we have to encounter. Now, we are all skillful manipulators, or should I say, we all have the potential to be skillful manipulators. Now, isn't it amazing that you don't have to teach someone how to manipulate? Isn't it amazing that you don't have to teach a child how to lie? Where does a child learn to lie? Where does this evasion from being guilty, where does this evasion from getting in trouble, and a little 2-year-old knows to say, I didn't do it, when they did do it? Where do we learn these things? It's amazing how skillful we can become. A child can throw a temper tantrum. Why? In order to manipulate, in order to get his or her way with their parents, to use guilt, to pout, to try and use guilt, to use their little moodiness or anger or fussing. Now, it's easy to see that in a child, but do you recognize that in your own life? Do you recognize it in the lives of those who are around you? What about a mother who tries to use guilt on you? What about a father who always tried to intimidate you? What about a boss who tried to do that? What about a friend who's always needy and pouty and moody, and they do it in order to manipulate you? These are all forms of control and things that we need to have our eyes open to so that we can deal with them and make sure that they don't rob us of life's delight. Make sure they don't stand in the way of the progress that we're trying to make. So again, you don't have to teach a kid to lie. They'll do that all by themselves. And people can grow up to become the most skillful manipulators. You probably know some. most skillful manipulators, and they've never taken a class on it. They never got coached in it. Nobody ever taught them this, but they operate it with absolute mastery. People can manipulate with anger, with guilt, moodiness, intimidation, children manipulating parents, as I said, but even parents manipulating children with guilt and anger and intimidation. Manipulation, spouses do it to each other all the time. There can be manipulation in the workplace, as I said. Even meeting someone for the first time, you can experience manipulation. Men and women do this all the time. Men are going to say whatever they need to say to get that woman in bed, and vice versa. That is, again, a form of manipulation. You're trying to control something to get a desired outcome. You are a manipulator. So what we want to understand this week is how to first recognize these primary ways that people manipulate, and how we can begin to undo them and set ourselves free so that no matter what anybody's doing, we are unmoved by their attempts to control us. And this week we're going to talk about anger, we're going to talk about guilt, we're going to talk about moodiness, we're going to talk about intimidation. These are the 4 ways that people primarily try to manipulate us. And again, you may recognize some of these in yourself. That is nothing to be afraid of. That is nothing to feel bad about. If you do find yourself engaging in manipulation, this is the time to come clean with yourself. This is the time to come clean with those that you are manipulating. Get yourself free from this garbage, man, so that you can say that you created desired outcomes in a good way, in a healthy way, in a way that was good for you, but was also good for others. You don't want to be a manipulator, man. You do not want to be someone who's using devious ways to control others to create desired outcomes. Sure, you're never going to go to jail for it. Nobody goes to jail for being a manipulator. If you're moody, you're not going to get arrested for it. So that's why you can go through life being a manipulator, because you've technically broken no laws, but you know what you're doing. You know it's not healthy. You know it's not good for the people you claim to love. And so you need to get free from this junk, man. Get free from manipulation, but also get free from those trying to manipulate you. Can you dig that? Well, listen, if you'd like to see the rest of this 5 video series, and I encourage you to join my Life Domination online coaching program, you can learn more about it by visiting the link below, metalmotivation.com/Life Domination Coaching. This is CJ, the Metal Motivator, and remember, in whatever you do, don't suck, metal up.